welcome to the Meta episode 57. We're back with a special episode. We've got some unranked... Well, actually, we've got matchmaking update. We've got Crystal Maiden Mega Guide. Might touch on the survey, which was forgotten for like 4 months, and now we've come back to. That was fun. Went over that for the first time in a while the other day. And that's about all. Marco and Adam, welcome. Marco, how are you doing?
Yo, doing great. You missed an opportunity with the we're back with a blast.
Hey, yeah, sorry.
An ice blast. Or frost blast. Fuck, which one is it?
Crystal
Nova. Oh, it doesn't even apply.
Crystal, no, it doesn't. It can't even do a pun.
We've got to wait for the Ancient Apparition episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, how are your games been?
So my games consist of smashing unranked games in probably unequal... Not actually, yeah, probably unequal teams, because unranked, it's hard to balance it, but 6 unranked win streak. They've been lots of fun. Let me get my DotA buff up.
And then getting slapped in an in-house.
And then falling short in an in-house with the University of Leicester boys.
Yeah.
It was good fun, though.
Tough after you smash the Leicester boys in the York Showdown. Suddenly you got to play with them. It's just not the same. You just, when it comes to uni squads, you just need that Cambridge wavelength.
Yeah, the passion wasn't there. The chemistry wasn't there.
Yeah, you didn't have the bonding experience of sleeping on like uncomfortable chairs.
Yeah, a bed of chairs, literally.
Yeah. Go on.
Well, the comment I'd make about my recent games is I've gone for the meaty strength heroes. I've gone Doom, Magnus, Tusk, Slaughter. I've got a very big strength bias here. It's quite cool. That's been fun, though. Yeah.
Yeah, the Tusk position 1, that was a fun one. I remember that one.
Was that 1?
Yeah, you were Tusk
well,
core, for sure.
It was one of those games where there isn't really a 1. I was core, yeah, with Nick in the off lane, but then we also had a Centaur as the other core in the other lane, in the safe lane. Yeah. Yeah,
I can't remember what was going on that game. I just remember it was a fun one. Tusk core is pretty fun if you're ahead. You just get a Deso and just one-shot people with...
Just run around.
Punch, yeah. Good times. Adam, this is your episode, pretty much. This is the Crystal Maiden deep dive. How are you feeling?
I feel good. So Marco's got the Strength Hero bias. I have the Crystal Maiden bias. Played it 14 times in my last 20 games.
Woo!
So, yeah.
Yeah, we're ready.
Yeah, played it a lot. I think I calibrated since our last episode, my solo, or my support MMR that happened.
Yes.
Yeah. I started out 5-2. It felt really good, and then I had 3 nightmare games in a row to end it.
Yikes.
So I ended 5-5, and that made me sad.
Yeah. It's one of those when you're 5-2 and you're like, man, this is going to be so good. You're like, oh, imagine if I'm like 8-2. And then it's like 5-5. It's like, okay.
I made the big mistake of being like, this could be plus 500 MMR if I just go 3-0. And then I went 5-5, went minus 45 MMR going neutral. And was like, dang. Especially since, I think I talked about it on the Discord, but game 8 we threw... And then I took a long break, like 15 minutes in between queuing again, and I got the same mid and off lane, even though I waited that long. And then our mid lost even harder in the second game, and we just got rolled. But we still could have won, and that was really sad. And then in the 10th game, like our Lion disconnected because of internet and abandoned. And it's like, this is actually how my last match is going to be, 4v5. Like, he is at level 4 or something, like right at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
He abandons because of internet. And we almost won 4v5, and then we lost. It was just, like, very cool.
Nothing tilts me more than, like, internet issue DCs. I got that bizarre game where I had a guy DC in the picking phase of a ranked game. Then Steam was in offline mode, so he would have just reconnected, I'm sure, because people DC in the picks all the time. Like, that's one... It's the new meta. I don't know if you're aware of this, but you know the new picking meta is when you don't want to pick, you just DC for that phase, and then reconnect the next phase, so people can't ask you to pick.
Pretty smart.
It's the new thing now. Like, sometimes I'm in battles, not battles, but sometimes I want a last pick if I'm mid, and the carry or the offlane will DC in the second phase, forcing me to pick, and then they'll reconnect like in the final phase, and then just take the hero. Anyway, so I think he was doing something like that, but Steam's offline, so he can't reconnect. He gets an abandon. Psych, he doesn't really get an abandon. He's just DC'd forever without the abandon ticking. So no one gets any gold bonuses. He goes, 5 minutes left, 4 minutes left, 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left, 1 minute left. No abandon message. And the game blinking counts. And it's not even safe to leave. And the game goes on for 40 minutes and then it counts. I don't know.
I mean, internet issues nearly cost me and Stan our deposit in Liverpool because of the rage induced.
Yeah.
You're just almost punching holes in walls or something.
Headsets are flying around the room.
Well, that's what happens when you've got to live off, what is it, BT Wi-Fi with fun or something.
Oh, mate, don't diss BT Wi-Fi with fun. It's world class.
To be fair, it's the only thing that gave us purpose. Imagine if we had no Wi-Fi. It's like
if we didn't have Wi-Fi, we're just theory crafting like Dota 3 for about a week.
Yeah.
Also,
we'd get so good at being bots.
Before you tell us about how you've been, I've kind of started a tabloid rumor about why your Dota buff page shows you without the new meta logo, with a Pugna logo, and a name Mark Noble. What's happened? Are you suggesting a tabloid story, or you want the lowdown? Well, I'm causing a rumor by the fact you've changed your name to Mark Noble from New Meta Podcast. And yeah, what's the lowdown?
A mixture of things. Mainly just I was a bit bored, and I was like, I want to spice things up a bit, because I used to like changing my name. Obviously, it'll probably go back to some sort of podcast plug soon enough with the logo and stuff. But I just wanted to give Mark Noble some respect, and then I was gonna change my logo to Mark Noble, just like a picture of him. But I got into the like Dota 1 flavor. I know Brother Joe has the Shadow Fiend, which is quite funny, and then you have the Mirana, and other people do have other stuff.
Yeah.
So I actually went and like Googled Dota 1 hero icons, got a selection, and I was just going through. It had to be a hero that I liked and one that looked decent in the icon. I ended up going with Pugna. I can't remember what the contenders were. There were like 3 I wasn't sure about, and then I just went with Pugna because the hero's quite fun. Do you know the icons so well that the second you saw it, you knew it was Pugna?
Definitely knew it was Pugna. I think there might be a couple that are difficult, like Arc Warden. I don't think I ever played with Arc Warden, but yeah, Pugna is definitely.
Right, yeah, fair enough.
Outsiders, what is this?
What's going on, yeah.
Push the talk, sir.
I feel like I was going to say a bit about my games. They've been fine. I actually played solo ranked for the first time in like a week and a half after changing my Pugna, my icon to Pug. So post Mark Noble, I play a solo ranked, and as if by the will of the divine, it turns out to be the perfect Pugna game. I pick Pugna, rip off a Pugna win, which anyone that's seen my stats from the past season will know that's a rare occurrence, me ripping off a Pugna win. So that was a big Pog moment, as if it was meant to be. And then that emboldened me to search again, and then I got a free Meepo win. So 2 wins on the trot, which gave me a percentage again to Ancient 3, but new matchmaking update, forget Ancient 3, forget the grind, we're bumped up to Ancient 4,
Easy.
Divine in the sight. So, actually, let me say congrats to Marco on getting back to Immortal, and congrats to Adam on getting back to Divine 2.
Yeah.
So, there you go, congrats.
I guess I forgot to say, I calibrated Ancient 7, which was a sad state of affairs, and then didn't even have to grind at all. Back to Divine 2, which is actually better than it used to be because we're back to 5 stars instead of 7. So,
And Marco, your rank 2.5. What's the highest rank you've ever got? Did you ever get 1.9 last season?
I think there was a tiny bit where I dipped under 2, but not very long.
All right.
This one's quite good, despite losing lots of MMR in the calibration.
Yeah. We'll have to see how that one changes, because you would have thought, say if your MMR didn't change at all, you would slowly lose ranks purely just on people grinding
Yeah.
and like new accounts getting immortal and stuff like that. So we'll see. But yeah, the pod has been saved by Valve. I put in a letter to Gaben and said, look, it's not really acceptable having 2 ancients and a divine. There's only one ancient here, and it's me. My 2 broskies need to get a bump. And Gaben put in the good words.
Legitimacy saved.
Yeah, it's fine. At first they ignored me, but then I changed my IP address to be coming from China, and then they listened. I actually... Alright, that's too deep, sorry. Let's just go... I mean, we've already started talking about this matchmaking update. I actually haven't read it. I don't know if one of you wants to give the basic rundown on what's been changed.
I skimmed I didn't read it super closely. I skimmed most of it. Some of the things I liked is that they changed it back from 7 stars to 5 stars between badges. And so I guess they did a shift up of badges because of that. And then people with behavior score under 3,000 can't use voice or chat. They can't type or voice, which I thought was hilarious. They're just perma muted until they're above 3,000.
That's interesting. I would like if they made it so they also just couldn't hear other players' voice and other players' chat. Because I don't want them to get tilted from anything. Do you know what I mean? I feel like even if they can't say anything, they're still going to get tilted by people blaming them. And just like they're going to find other ways to communicate, like destroying items and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Other things, so I guess the old threshold between highest and lowest MMRs that could queue together was 2,800. Now it's 2,000. So it's a pretty big shift. So I guess some people might not be able to queue together. Not just for ranked, though, right? You can unranked with anybody, I think.
Yeah.
I would hope. What else they changed? Oh, okay. So for Divine and Immortal players, if you're queued in a party ranked, it's going to take the highest ranked person in your party and apply that to everybody else. So if we, queued with Marco, we'd all be considered ranked 2,500 Immortals for terms of balancing the match.
Yeah.
It seems a bit extreme because, yes, it's fine if you stack against an equivalent party who will also get dragged up to the Immortal level player, but if you just came across this Divine stack and we are this high legend, low ancient to Divine Immortal stack, you are just going to get absolutely thumped. So I feel like
it's to help
benefits 5 stacks. And if
that was the other thing is that they'll do you're forced 5 stack versus 5 stack now. You can't do 5 versus 2v1.
That's a
v2,
massive quality of life improvement for the non-5 stack.
Yeah, that's locked in, and then I think it does. I think I kind of agreed it's a bit of an extreme stance to take with the making everyone the same MMR, I guess, across the party, but it does, I think, fix the abusing aspect with the new accounts doing ranked with an Immortal or something, and then they get benefit from that, and they get a plus 40 while you get a minus 40.
Yeah. Even
though they're obviously better type of thing.
It's just a huge buff to stacks that are all roughly equivalent skill.
Yeah.
If it's like what Marco's saying, if say an Immortal player goes and stacks with friends that are within that 2,000 MMR range, but all, 1,000 to 2,000 lower, they could just run into an Immortal stack, and there are plenty of Immortal stacks, right? Of just 5 Immortal players playing. So you might get some wonky games like that. It'll be interesting to see just how many games there are, because it feels like these changes are more or less making it a little bit harder for matches to be found, I would suppose.
That was another thing they added, was now in the post-game screen, you can see how long everybody queued.
Really?
So it will that is can be a reasoning by, that's why this game is kind of wonky, because this one guy had to queue for 15 minutes or something, or this party queued for a really long time, and that's why it's a little unbalanced. Have
you seen the post-game screen yet?
They moved the download replay to the bottom right, I noticed, instead of the middle.
Oh, yeah. I don't get... So they're meant to put these markers or something to indicate what position people were, but I don't really understand them. And like I see 4 people on /heroes with some little
that
thing
means they're
at
in
the
a party
top.
together, I think.
Okay, but then on our side, when we're in the 5 stack, there's nothing that suggests it's a 5 stack, and Nick's got some green triangle in the top left of his rectangle. It's a bit weird.
Oh,
Apparently
okay.
there are surveys that happen after a game as well. I've not seen that because I did a private lobby, but that could be quite cool.
Hmm.
Some more feedback stuff, more communication. Yeah, I love it.
They're doing more. They're still doing ban waves. They're still doing. I noticed. I mean, on Reddit, they said someone was like, "I was ranked 250, and now I'm like rank 150, and I didn't queue at all." Did a bunch of accounts get banned? And they said in the post that like 3 days ago, they silently banned a bunch of like boosty / Smurf accounts, and that is why people went up 100 points on the leaderboard or whatever.
Another interesting change is that your highest badge is no longer fixed for the season, and if you deviate more than 1 star away, it will move down.
Say again?
So, do you know if you get Ancient 2, you're Ancient 2 for the entire season. If you now fell to Ancient, or to Legend 7, it would change to Legend
5.
I think it said more than 1 star move.
But now there's only 5 stars instead of 7 stars.
Sorry, yeah. So say Ancient 3, if you were now Ancient 1, in terms of your actual MMR, your badge would update to reflect that.
But I wonder if it would go down to Ancient 2 or Ancient 1. If it would go all the way down, or if it would just start to shift
I think it would
downwards.
go to Ancient 1, because then that would be confusing to have an Ancient 2 badge when your MMR actually isn't there.
It probably would go Ancient 1 with percentage or something.
Yeah, true.
So is it half as punishing then to go down? Like you need to drop 2 stars to actually drop 1 star on what's displayed on your profile?
I think it's supposed to help with the ladder anxiety.
But also a bigger point, I think, is that it's to do with Smurfs as well, or account buyers. So if you bought an account and then started plummeting, you're just going to start plummeting your badge as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And also that they said in games when people had fallen quite a bit, the fact that if you queue in a game and there's someone Divine 4, but they might actually be Divine 1, it can kind of look or be a bit weird or something.
Yeah, when someone you would have, I guess you got like Stan would have a game. He's like, why is this guy in here? He's probably tanked like 500 MMR, but it still looks like a Divine 6 or something.
Even in my games, you get the odd Immortal, like occasionally. Like there's a guy who says Immortal unranked. It's like, okay, well, everyone else in this game's like, whatever, Divine 1 to High Ancient, so there's no way you've obviously just tanked like a KMMR. So, yeah. I guess it's just good, right? I'd like to see how matchmaking continues to develop. Obviously something that they're looking at closely, because it's update after update. We've had about 3 since TI.
Yeah. So. They're still fixing it. They said it'll be wonky for a couple of days, but it'll get dialed in. Also, I think they also announced that they're going to they're working on a new player stuff, player experience stuff. So that's big.
And they need to work on these new heroes as well. Come on. Yeah. I'm ready for this big update. The big update pod as well.
Snapfire.
Yeah.
Void Spirit.
On the survey that has been ignored since, I guess, a bit before TI, so a couple months or something, not only is Adam continuing to dominate the favourite podcast section with a whopping 42.3%, almost double Marco and I's measly figures. Obviously haven't rallied the troops adequately. Not only that, but I think most of the people, a lot of the responses are requesting some support analysis. I don't know if we have a high volume of support players that are into the pod, or whether maybe I just subconsciously ignore talking about supports as much as possible, but 2 birds with 1 stone, because we get to hear more of our favourite podcaster's voice as he discusses a support hero, Crystal Maiden. Adam, you've been playing a lot of Crystal Maiden. I don't know, it's up to you where you want to start with the support and core, but I mean, what do you think about CM's place in the meta? Like, what makes this hero good at the moment, or how good do you think the hero is at the moment?
Well, first I want to say I agree with whoever said in the responses that there should be multiple. You should be able to pick multiple people as your favorite podcaster. And that was just like a meme question I added in there. I didn't expect it to actually be answered.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's funny making people answer that question, but I like the fact that it's in there. It's just funny. Yeah. There was a time wasn't there a time when Nick guessed Nick was like top or something?
Yeah.
Big friend.
Our greeter, he greets every new person in the Discord. He's
the real MVP.
Greeter of the pod or something instead of friend of the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crystal Maiden. So she's my favorite hero, my most played hero now by a long shot. 190 matches now. So I guess I started playing her a lot recently because I knew I was gold tier and I wanted to get platinum tier on her. And so I need to win one more game. I finished all my tier 3 challenges for this 2-week period, but I need to win one game and that'll give me the 100 XP to get to level 18 platinum tier.
Nice.
Yeah. That's the spur for playing her a lot. And then doing it, I kind of just fell in love with the hero all over again. All the stuff you get to do. And a quick story I wanted to say before. I've been playing her in unranked a lot. Even as just a support, like solo unranked, just grinding out these XP for the levels. And so I had a Rubik mid, and he was like a backseat gamer. He was making me really annoyed. I wasn't saying anything, but he was just complaining about how we needed to win early. And it's like, well, you picked Rubik mid and then lost. And then now we'd have no recourse for trying to win early because you fell behind. But I wasn't saying any of this, right? And he gets to 20 minutes in, and he's just like, he's one of those guys. He clicked on my tranquil boots and said, I'm buying wards and you have tranquil boots, like that type of thing. Like, you're not doing your job. And then it got to 20 minutes in, and he's like, don't buy a blink. We need a glimmer of force staff. And I'm just trying to have fun in this unranked game. And so I finally just said, okay, I think I'm just going to mute you over voice. And then he immediately disconnected and abandoned from the game.
Jeez.
It just ended. I was like, all right, well, I didn't realize it was so fragile. Just like my flame. It was like, okay, I think I'm going to mute.
Yeah, that's unranked for you. Someone's having a bad time in unranked, they'll just snap and abandon, I think.
But I've been liking unranked because I've been trying out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Including the Crystal Maiden mid. So that's kind of where this podcast idea came out, is that you can play her. I mean, mid is like our last episode was, right, how to have fun, right? Playing some DOT. So it's like, I'm going to play Crystal Maiden mid because they had
A-tier fun hero.
Yeah, A-tier fun hero, and they had like really ridiculous Dota Plus quests, like kill 45 creeps with frostbite. I'm like, I can never do that as a support, so I'm gonna just play mid. So Crystal Maiden, I got
51% win rate just off the bat.
Okay,
that's in Divine Immortal, 51% win rate, 18% pick rate. That's quite high. Pudge is 24%, and Crystal Maiden's 18%.
She's coming back in. So. It seems like I've seen a lot of people picking Crystal Maiden that aren't me. So that's
definitely.
Yeah, that's felt pretty cool. I have a 58% win rate on 190, which I think is pretty good for like a support hero.
Definitely.
Sometimes you can feel a bit listless, like you can't affect the game, but I think she definitely can do it just by existing. And I guess that, we'll go into the pros and the cons. So I think pro-wise, Crystal Maiden, she's got really strong spells in a vacuum, all 4 of them. And then her Arcane Aura is like super OP, enables a lot more. It's like, being a Drow or Avenge type of an effect, but just mana-wise. She was like so strong early game because people get to cast spells so much more often. And then she's got really good cosmetics. That's what I got for the pros.
Have you got the Dota Plus cosmetic?
I'm working towards it. I got 45,000 and it's at 75,000, so I'm getting there. And I'm going to use it. I know that you can at least use the shoulders and keep the Arcana and like the staff and
Right. Okay.
the other things, and it looks really good. So
Yeah.
I'm working towards that.
Yeah.
And then, so a lot of her cons, I think, is pretty easy for people to, identify. Is that she's really slow. At one time, she was the slowest hero in the game. I don't know if she is anymore. It might be like Treant without.
Techies as well is always really slow.
Well, he's really fast now.
Oh, really?
They gave him like 40 move speed or something.
Wow.
He's over 300, I think.
What? Okay.
Yeah, but at one time it was like techies and her, and now they did the like agi hero, strength hero, that whole move speed change, and then so she's 277 now, which is really bad. And then I think that's where people kind of stop. They're just like, yeah, Crystal Maiden is really slow, but she's really awful. Like, to compensate for her strong spells, like her other stats are just really bad. She's got 47 base damage, 1 armor, and for an int hero, she might be the stupidest hero in the game. She's got 14 int, which is that's pitiful. I think you can cast 2 Crystal Novas, and that's it. You might not even be able to cast 2 Crystal Novas, but by the time the first one comes off cooldown, you might have enough then.
There's something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but her starting stats are really, really bad, and she just tickles with her.
I mean, remember the days when her right click was even worse? She used to hit even slower.
Yeah.
And it's just like a drop of rain splashing someone's face.
I think she might have got a damage buff too, maybe like 2 points or something.
Yeah, she feels really underwhelming with right clicks.
But besides, I mean, she's got like okay stat gain, like 3.3 int is fine. 2.2 strength isn't the worst. It's okay. But I guess so. They compensate for the fact most int heroes have a big int pool, and then they cast spells just by having a lot of mana to cast them. Crystal Maiden kind of like subverts that, where that she doesn't have a high mana pool, but she's got insane regen, and so that's how she's able to keep casting spells. So it's kind of cool way to play, just by using your spells off cooldown, kind of able to keep up with the mana that way, as opposed to building like OD type of strength or int gain type of stuff.
Mangoes, they are your holy Bible for the early game. Once you get the levels and your aura becomes like level 3 plus, you are very self-sufficient mana regen.
Yeah.
But before that, just consume mangoes like you're a fucking ice frog. He loves his mangoes.
He loves mangoes.
She's the ultimate mango hero because she has no mana pool, so it fills up the whole thing.
Yeah. And
First.
One spell is half her mana pool, so you do really need the mangoes.
Yeah. Do we want to just go into the lane and talk about how you lane with Maiden versus other support heroes? And then we'll naturally, I guess, talk about the spells when we talk about the initial skill points and items.
I think we could do support. Like, support's what you're going to do 99% of the time. So I guess we'll start off with item build. Like what I used to do until today. So what I've been doing is you get 2 tangos, 2 sets, and then you pull 2 to the mid. So you got 4 tangos.
Satisfied mid players.
Yeah, satisfied mid. You got one. You buy 1 observer, 1 sentry. You give the observer to the mid. So you got the 1 sentry. And then I had been doing 2 mangoes and 2 branches. And the branches weren't really for sometimes you would eat one for just like the double tango, but most of the time it was just for a bit more int, a bit more stats, and then build it into a wand eventually. I'm kind of off that now. I kind of watched a video of Fly, how he played Crystal Maiden, and he also went 2 tangos, 1 obs, and then he got a salve and 3 mangoes. And I do think that's just better. Although for a pub game at my level, I probably might still I would cut out the 2 branches And I would get the salve for sure. But it's just a matter of, do I want the sentry instead of the extra mango? And I do think right now it's really good just to go on the side of low stat items, high amounts of regen, get you through the lane, bully the enemy out of the lane. So I'll have to play around with that. But it always feels really good dewarding early because wards give you so much XP and gold as a support.
Yeah. Like a couple of side notes. Well, actually, one side note and one very relevant thing. Just in terms of sentries, I've watched some, No-Tell's been streaming. I haven't watched any of it, but I've watched the YouTube highlights. And the amount of D-wards that these pro support players get, obviously Fly will be the same, but it's they have a sixth sense for where wards are. I just don't understand. It's just, they're so good at knowing where the enemy has to have vision based off these really subtle movements that they make.
Yeah.
And then they just deward, and like you say, the gold you get is so nice, and it seems like they almost carry games from the 5 position just with sentry placement and just with vision control. So impressive. But the point I was going to make that's more relevant, I think, like you were saying about how it's better to just have lots of regen and not necessarily stats as a 5. And I guess you would elaborate as a support player, but I think in general, Crystal Maiden included, if you can sort of spam your spells and even use your body as a buffer using tangos and stuff to basically force the offlaner to trade his regen for your regen while your carry is farming and not using his regen, that's just a good time. So if you can buy an extra mango, an extra whatever it is, a salve or something, and just trade more with the enemy laners, trade your regen for their regen, then you're going to be doing your carry a big service, because he's not going to be using resources on buying more regen, or in fact even using the regen that he started with. So that's just winning the lane, right, as a 5. So,
yeah, and then the salve has more flexibility in that you can give it to your carry if need be, because a lot of times as a support you might just die and you might not ever use the salve, but it's good to have, I think.
Yeah, and talk about the skill build, the initial skill build, because it wasn't too long ago before the big Crystal Maiden skill build shift occurred, where everyone stopped getting Frostbite at level 1 and started getting Crystal Nova instead.
I can't believe Frostbite was ever skilled. It
used to be more damage.
Okay, but even though it still has more damage, Frostbite level 1, but I would turn my eyes out when I've seen CMs skill Frostbite over Crystal Nova at level 1. 20 more damage, but it's a 1.5 second, you hold them down, assuming you get to cast it on them with its shorter cast range. But for the Crystal Nova, it's 4.5 seconds of slow. You can easily catch up and get right clicks.
I think it's just, and also 130 damage you can often get 2 heroes.
And if you get 2 heroes, it's crazy value.
Yeah, but Crystal Nova got nerfed. It used to do more damage.
It used to do less, and then it got buffed loads, and then that shift occurred. Because I remember when the first few pro players, I can't remember who, but some pro players started getting Crystal Nova level 1. It was a big thing, whoa, these pros are starting to experiment with Crystal Nova 1. It was that entrenched that you just got Frostbite.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny to think that.
Because I don't get that. I really don't. But the reason I love Crystal Nova so much is that its effective cast range, because of its cast range plus massive AoE, is really far. So you can gap close really well, because you can just catch heroes, clip heroes with the slow from really far away, and then you can catch up and get stuff done. Whereas Frostbite, you need to be really close to them, and then you only hold them down for 1.5 seconds, and then they're just off, and it's useless.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is born out of the rune fights at minute 0. Now that you're kind of forced skirmishes, the Crystal Nova is way better, because you just AoE, hit 2 or 3 people. Like what you said, it's a 20% move speed slow for 4.5. That lets you get off way more auto attacks. And you might even think okay, if you had a gyro on your team or a jug, you totally want to have Frostbite, right? Because you lock them down and then you can rocket barrage or spin. It's no, you want Crystal Nova because they're slowed for way longer. It's only a 1.5 second route for Frostbite, but it's a 4.5 second slow for Crystal Nova. And all you need is just 20% slow for a gyro or a jug to have the move speed difference to just hug them while they're using their spell.
Even even right clicks, if someone is slowed by 20% at Horn, for that entire slow duration plus another maybe second, you can get a right click and move and catch up, right click, move, catch up. With Frostbite, you hit them for the 1.5 seconds, but then the moment you hit them and they're just moving at normal movement speed, you don't catch up. So the damage you can get in from Crystal Nova is so much more than a Frostbite.
And it's worth saying that if it was just a movement slow and AoE damage, then you could say, well, yeah, but they can still just stand there and man up, but it does give an attack slow as well, minus 20 attack speed slow. Yeah. So it's not like they can it's not like they can be like, great, you can hug me, but I'm just going to use my spells and damage you as well. It's like, no, it's harder for you to do that because you can't click as fast.
Very good trading spell.
Yeah, so in the lane,
excellent trading spell.
You really want to only use it if you hit 2 heroes in my eyes, but you really want to use it quite often as well. If you're hitting 2 heroes with Frost Nova, do that 2 to 3 times. On that 3rd time you're using it, your carry's probably got kill potential.
Yeah.
That's the way I see CM in the lane.
And it's just the ultimate, it's like you said, it's the ultimate trading spell. When I just talked earlier about, trading regen for regen, what better way to do it than doing 130 damage to 2 heroes at the same time, level 1. Like, with the slow.
If we're in laning too, it's like you're in the tree casting it. They don't see you. They can't come up. They just get hit, and then you kind of pep them a couple times. They might try and trade, but they're only going to get off 1 auto to your 2. And it's.
I'm trying to think of another support that can as reliably dish out damage to multiple heroes, and the only one I can think of is Grimstroke. Say you get your Q on 2 heroes, but that's hard to hit and land, right? There's not many supports. Even then, they have to be quite close together to get the chains to hit.
It's that plus his auto attack where it lets them do the damage. But it's Crystal Nova is 700 range. Yeah, it's 700 range, but I think it's effective 1100 because it's 425 radius, right? So if you cast I don't know if you cast on the spot if it's already taking that into account. Seems like you cast it the 700 away, and then it's got the extra 400 from the other part of the circle.
It could be I don't get the effective radius term, but it could be 700 plus 200. If you know, like half the circle.
No, it's radius, not diameter. So it's 400 radius. So you add the.
Is that 400? But that doesn't. If you see it in game, the diameter looks like 400.
It says radius 425.
I know it does, but if you go, say you use Balinar's Balinar's Void, that is a 400 radius around his hero unit, and that is like the same size as the diameter of a Frost Nova. But we'll just test in the demo another day.
Yeah, the only heroes I can think of Jakiro is like the only one I can think of that. If you get like a 2-man queue, it's similar trading. Other than that, it's like...
Because that also attack speed slows.
Yeah. And Decay is a similar spell, but it doesn't do damage really, so it doesn't really count. And Undying is just like a weird hero in general, so...
But other laning things for Crystal Maiden specifically is that her Crystal Nova is really good for contesting range creeps. So if you have like a melee... carry that's not going to be able to get a range creep against like 2 ranged offliners or something. You definitely Crystal Nova hit the range creep, get it. That way you both get the experience, and then you hopefully at least hit one of the offliners. So it's harass plus gold experience securing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you can get exactly what you said. If you're like, I'm not sure whether I should Crystal Nova this range creep. If you're in the first 2 waves, the answer is probably just yes in a vacuum. And then if you can get a hero and the range creep, then it's not even. That's just like a dream situation. Like we say it all the time, just like use spells to get those range creeps.
Yeah, don't even worry about like pushing the wave, right? With your I hit the wave with my Crystal Nova and it's going to push it a little bit. It's like no, you got 2 heroes with it. They're going to have to tango. And you're going to pull anyways as Crystal Maiden. Kind of what I've been noticing from pro replays is that they're not like connecting pulls pretty much ever because other team or other players are so good at disrupting them. But it's still worthwhile for you to single pull to the easy camp, because that's how you get your XP as a support. So those easy camp creeps are worth a lot of XP early, and then you pop your level 2 and from an easy camp, and then your carry under tower is getting all the creeps and the XP, and they're like level 2.5 or 3 by the time you're level 2. While the enemy offlaners are both like level 2. So you just come out ahead that way.
Oh, I definitely agree. I think the value of giving your carry solo XP in the highest level games, that is becoming more and more value. People are valuing that really highly. So like you say, just doing a single pull, so your carry CS's under tower or whatever, but gets solo XP, you're winning in that situation. Pulling is so popular now. Like, pulling is a big part of the safe lane, I think.
Yeah, make sure you last hit them too, because they're actually surprisingly a good amount of gold early for you to get wards or boots or anything.
Yeah, a parallel point to the XP and support. I think what makes a good support player is being able to recognize where they can most effectively get XP on the map, and a big part of that is, like you say, the pulling, and a CM is so good because you can just casually get a big fat jungle creep. But moments in the game when you recognize your cores, say, or doing some triangle or doing some stack, like a double stack, you can go help them kill it and get that XP. Or if they're doing some woods pattern and there's an empty lane, you need to recognize when you can take that empty free XP. To me, that's a really big thing that makes the support good. I remember watching PPD stream, and he was really good at that, always got his levels. And also, don't waste your TP going to that lane. Maybe just walk to it.
Yeah.
That's my level.
I don't know how much of this advice would be tapered the lower down you go, where you just kind of want to make sure you get yours at the end of the day. But I know the higher up you go, certainly, if you get level 6 with the tome at 10 minutes, that's absolutely fine pacing for your position 5 XP wise. I don't worry about, like, if you can maximize within reason, you don't want XP to go to waste on the map, but if you can give your carry solo XP at the cost of your own XP, so long as you're hitting that level 6 with the tome at 10 minutes mark, you're happy to trade your XP to give you the carry double XP.
That's totally
good
agree.
for you.
Yeah.
And this fly replay I saw, he was level 2 at 5 minutes when he was contesting the runes. And he was doing tons on the map, and it was still completely okay, because Crystal Maiden spells are really strong, even at level 1.
Yeah,
because you think about it, most people go 1-1-3, so you're keeping level 1 in those spells, and they're still like really strong for the value points that you get. So it's really okay to be and I think level 2 at minute 5 is probably on the low end of the XP you want to have, but it's still totally okay. It's like not the end of the world.
Also, I've just tested the demo of CM, and I forgot basically how big the Crystal Nova AoE is, so that's why I was a bit confused about that radius. But yeah, the radius actually is that big. It is bloody huge, this AoE.
So what I'm saying is it's 700 away.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, to the center point of the circle. So then you add 400 25 range from the radius, so you can snipe stuff from 1100.
But you snipe stuff, but just initiate and make an
that's what I
engagement
mean.
happen.
That's what I mean.
So strong.
There's so many times when people try and sneak away, and that's where you get them at the last second from huge range to kill secure. Or, like what you said, from huge range in the fog, and they're like, oh my god, I'm slowed all of a sudden.
Yeah,
and then you just get them.
There'll be so many occasions or possible scenarios where your core, even the 1 or the 2, all they need to be able to secure a kill is that little bit of gap close, and CM from 1,000 range away can make that happen. Literally, that's it, and a kill happens. Not many people have that kind of kit that she has.
And then we'll just say, go ahead.
No, I was just going to pose a question about the skill build as the game progresses. You mentioned that 1-1-3 is sort of the norm. Are you varying away from that only when you really feel like you need to level up what Crystal Nova maybe for the lane, if the lane is more of like a battle lane, or are you just going 1-1-3, doesn't really matter on the game, or what's your thoughts like looking towards level 6?
113's been my standard for a really long time, and like staying at 3. Do not like the. I think the fourth point's a trap, but now I'm like I could definitely be convinced off of it. I think even if I was to play myself, I would do 2-1-2.
Yeah, I personally would not get 3 in the aura.
Yeah, I think it just depends on how much XP you're getting as in the game, because the points are so valuable that I wouldn't just throw the third point into the aura or the level 5 point into the aura. It's really valuable to have 2-1-2 because Crystal Nova should be maxed the majority of the time as your first spell, because it goes from, I mean, the damage scales all right. It goes from 130 to 260 at level 7, but it scales 10% slow for every point. So at level 7 or at max, it's a 50% move speed slow for 4.5 seconds. And it goes down to an 8-second cooldown. So they're slowed for a really long time. And it's probably about 70% uptime on the slow as well with the cooldown, like 4.5 compared to 8-second cooldown. And then it's a 50 attack speed slow too.
I think
it's huge.
I agree, but if the enemy team had particularly, what do you call it, elusive heroes like a Puck, Ember Spirit, Storm, I would be keen to match the W in that case. Can you not?
That's what I do.
The W.
You can, but you just have to wait.
Okay.
Because it goes up to, so Frostbite goes from a 1.5 second route to a 3-second route, 150 damage to 300 damage, and the cooldown goes from 9 to 6. So that's like a half or a 50% uptime on the route. And there are games where I max Frostbite, and I don't think that's right the majority of the time. But if they have Ember, I definitely get it. If they have Slark, I definitely get it. Maybe if they have a Centaur on their team.
Storm Spirit, honestly, that just ends his game.
It's like it wrecks Storm. Absolutely wrecks Storm. But that's, those are very few heroes. I think Crystal Nova, majority of the time, you definitely want the move speed slow.
You talk about there are some games where you max Frostbite. Are there some games where you don't get Frostbite until level 5? Or is that, are you always getting it level 2/3 or 2?
I think its value point is too strong.
You can level 2 it if you have the mangoes, and then you could have a super kill potential with Crystal Nova Frostbite. Level 3 is pretty standard because you go like Crystal Nova, then Arcane Aura, then Frostbite. I think absolute latest is 4. If you go 2 points in the aura at 3, just so you can keep spamming Crystal Nova, I definitely think you get the Frostbite at 4. But I think 1-1.
I don't think it makes sense to go 2-0-2 because what's that second point in Q? It's to get 40 more damage and a bit more slow. Well, why don't you use?
I think if you're laning against Dispel, I think you can.
Not to get ahead of ourselves, but 2-0-2 is my mid Crystal Maiden build.
Oh, okay.
that's a different thing.
I was interested. I've gone on the guides, and there's only a couple of instances of this. So there's 2 games where they haven't got Frostbite until one didn't get it till level 5 and one didn't get it till level 6. And it looks like in both of those games, one of them, this Crystal Maiden's laning against an Abaddon, and in the other one, the Crystal Maiden's laning against a Legion Commander. So that will be the reason why they haven't done it. So maybe, I guess, in the very narrow situation where you're laning against a Dispel and you need to be active in the lane, you could maybe not get Frostbite until later. But yeah, no, I definitely agree that's like a special case for sure.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's a good value point. Just think about stuff before you level your spell, because I know I would level Frostbite automatically at, say, level 2 or level 3 or something, and then be like, use it on them, and then it would get instantly dispelled, and I'd be like, I think this is a point where a good player would do something different, I think.
I'm pretty sure the last game I played with a CM, they skilled W level 1 and it missed us a kill. I'm pretty sure that's still scarred in my brain, because it's the last time I played with CM. So don't skill, boys, until you know what you need.
Well, so they have that new Trove Carafe staff, which is really cool for the Arcane Aura, but now it lets the enemy know when you skill Arcane Aura.
Oh, yeah.
Does it let the enemy know? Is it only a particle effect for your allies? I was wondering that.
I thought it was everyone could see it. You know what? I can't say I've ever seen the enemy do it, but it's kind of a new item, so I don't know.
Pay to lose if the enemy
because at level 2 they skill it, you see this big orb pop up like, okay, he doesn't have frostbite. Like
I have a feeling that only allies can see it, because I think only allies can see the pets, right?
I'm not sure.
Also,
anyway, it doesn't.
Couldn't you click on an enemy and see if they have the buff?
You could see it. You could, but who does that?
True, yeah, true. Actually, yeah. So it's not. I guess it's not pay to lose. It's pay to not be bad at the game or whatever.
I mean, clicking on heroes to see debuffs and buffs used to be pretty important with stuns.
It is, but Crystal or the Arcane Aura is so relatively low impact on the check meter.
Yeah, those has a lot of little things to be thinking about. That's probably not high up there.
He's regenning so fast.
Speaking of the aura, though, I mean, in the past, Crystal Maiden's been more of this aura hero, right? That just lives and dies by this arcane aura. But I think the way Ice Frog's patched the game, this aura to allies has been nerfed a lot, and aura to self has been buffed. And other spells have been touched up. Obviously, Freezing Field with the armor, weird stuff. And then Nova, obviously, we talked about the changes to that. So do you think Aura now is just like a nice bonus for your team and not necessarily the crux of the hero? Or do you think that you're just you're getting 3 points and like Aura is what you're bringing to the table and then...
I think she's been unfairly stamped into the ground by pubbers, by people thinking... she is just an aura machine, and so like she's got this bad rep of, you say you're lower MMR than the average, go on CM because you'll give us an aura and that's all you're good for. But actually she's a potent demon with that Crystal Nova and a W, and I think people think she's defensive and soft and weak and is just literally a walking aura, but I don't think that's true. I think she should be getting kills all around the map. I don't mind a level 6 Rain of Ice to get another kill as well. That it does help that's been buffed quite a bit over time as well, but I really think she's got a lot of aggression, like offensive capability, and it shouldn't just be seen as this aura ward. I think that's kind of like a pub stigma that has got into all our brain that CM is just some crappy support that the noob plays. It's like, nah. Well, I think it's really strong.
Yeah. I mean, Adam will have the definitive opinion, but I think it's changed because of, like I said, the nerfs to the
I think
allies. Because I think back in the day, certainly in pro games, when you saw a Crystal Maiden, you knew it was because there was going to be like a storm kind of there was going to be an int core basically, by definition, if there's a CM in the game. But you think you can first pick CM and have no int cores, it's fine, I think. Probably.
There is also the point that non-int cores benefit massively because the mana pool and mana regen is already so crap. So when it's like a relatively even bigger amount of mana pool being regened when you're a strength.
That's what I was going to say. I prefer having non-int cores.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part.
But I do think now, and I think you're right about the changes, she is more than just aura machine, and you could easily pick her and not necessarily have great aura synergy. It's only Alliance when they grind CM Storm that makes me think of a synergy with the aura, because then Coifer would skip the mana regen talent at 10, and that because he's just got CM instead. Outside of that team and duo, I would never really see CM and go, great hero, great pick because of her aura.
Yeah, there's like very few heroes at level 10 that have mana regen talents that you could maybe have them eschew it, like Dragon Knight, Wind Ranger. They can just have have the aura replace it. But I just want to say, Rain of Ice. That's a new Marcoism. Instead of Freezing Field, is that just snow? Is Rain of Ice just snow? Is that what?
Could be hail.
Yeah, hail.
What's it called? Is it called Hailstone? Is that its name?
Freezing Field? Freezing Field?
It's hailstoning outside. That is a phrase, right? That is the dictionary term.
So the arcane aura.
Yeah, okay. We won't
Hail-
dwell on that because I haven't got a lot. I think you say it's hailing outside. Is that just?
Yeah,
Is that my right?
hail.
Is it just a hailstone is a pellet of hail?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes,
it's more
I think
slang
so.
to say it's hailstoning outside. That's what we would say, hailstoning.
Mm.
We'd never say it's
What do you mean
hailing.
it's more slang? That's what? Hailstoning's longer than saying hailing.
I've never heard hail.
So why would hailstoning be the slang?
Because hailstoning
like
is grammatically incorrect.
Is that a
Hailing
hearthstone?
But
is
it's
a
also-
verb. Is a
but it-
verb.
Hailstone.
But it's literally just it's got hailing in it. It's just longer. You just made it longer and
Yeah.
grammatically incorrect. I don't know if
Yeah.
that qualifies as slang. I mean,
Yeah, the latter reasons why I say it qualifies as slang.
Okay.
Rather
I'm
than
gonna
you
say it's-
speaking correctly, oh, it's hailing outside. Look at all that hailstone.
yeah. I mean, I'm just going to say it's freezing fielding outside now.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's rain of icing.
yeah. I don't got it actually. Yeah, radio icing.
Anyway.
Let's hit the arcane aura real fast. Because you as the Crystal Maiden, you get a bunch of bonus mana regen, but your allies for each point it goes 60, 90, 120, 150 per minute mana regen, and then for you it goes 150, 270, 390, 510 per minute of mana.
Huge.
So you can kind of see that at a level 7, you don't need 510 mana per minute. Also, Crystal Nova costs about 150 to 160, depending on how much you've leveled it. So just 1 point in the aura will sustain you on Crystal Novas. But when you want to get into casting, 2 spells with
You need level 2, and that's where I think you need
level
level
2. Yeah. So that's that for the arcane aura. Should think by the time you get level 7 on Crystal Maiden, would you want to say you're like 11 to 12 minutes in the game? And maybe like 14 minutes into the game? Do you really need the extra levels in arcane aura to sustain your team at that point? The best part of the arcane aura is the early game in the lane, when you're giving them the ability to spam spells more and to harass enemies out of the lane. And when you get to level 7, they're kind of should be self-sufficient, either having bottles or other, clarities or items built at that point, that you should be making your hero stronger by getting stronger other spells instead of arcane aura, is my opinion on it. But think about arcane aura with like Bristleback, or like, I don't know, it's an extra hoof stomp for Centaur, or just all sorts of heroes that can just use these spells so much more often, harass people, more swashbuckles, more lunar, Lucent Beam for Luna. I mean, just these heroes that get any agi or like strength hero has really strong magic damage spells, but they're balanced and that they cost a lot of mana and they have relatively low mana pools. But if you give them more mana regen, like Sven Stormhammer, I mean, that's been nerfed into the ground, but like old Sven Stormhammer, you just get to cast that over and over again. That's how you're able to just like win your team the other lanes just by being alive on the other side of the map. So important to reiterate.
Yeah. In terms of the kit, obviously... Well, actually, I'll start the other way around. Classic support gameplay. You want to use your Frostbite, your Crystal Nova, stay on the edges of fight, not die, hopefully get a second round of spells off, stay out of trouble in general. But then there's this freezing field spell where, you have these godly visions of like 4-man freezing field ultra kills and stuff, where you really need to be in the thick of it. How do you level that in a team fight? When you go into team fights as Crystal Maiden throughout the game, are you trying to do the classic, I used all my spells, or are you just freezing? How much are you prioritizing getting a freezing field off in a team fight versus not dying? Do you know what I mean?
I think the freezing field only ever happens either when you're getting dived, and so you use it defensively and to kind of turn around the attempt on your life, or in kind of a not unique but pretty selective gank scenario where you're ganking some hero that you can kind of run in with another guy to hold down in place and get it off, and it's great. I don't think just generally that if a fight were to happen, you're thinking, where am I getting the best freezing field off and how? I think you're just skirmish spells, don't die. If someone comes at you, freezing field will save the day, but that's not primary focus.
It's good to say. It's good to say because I think a lot of Crystal Maiden players, myself included,
just want to run in.
Think, exactly, like I've got this ultimate spell. I'm going. Say there's a fight happening around, I don't know, maybe not Roshan, but like say Dire tier 1 mid, around that sort of area. I'm like running aggressively into trees to try and get this like weird wonky positioning, like on 3 in the trees. It's like no, because you'll just die. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's also very easy to stop. It's not like a black hole channel where you can stop 2 heroes using spells. There are 5 heroes that all they need to do is 1 spell to interrupt you. It is easy to stop. I think the point about trees, if you can find stuff, but again, it's a very selective example. If you're in the trees and you're juking and you're getting chased and then you let it rip, yes, that works and can work. But again, it's kind of specific.
It's not what you want. You're not looking for that situation.
But you're not looking for that situation. No, that's just kind of a very specific situation.
Yeah, so I used to never skill Freezing Field at 6. It was too bad and it cost too much mana relative to your pool. But now it's too good of a spell not to get a level 6. And it's 200 mana, which is sizable, because at that point it's about half your mana pool to use. But it's worth it. I'm not thinking about the 10 out of 10 DotA highlight reel Freezing Field in a fight. If anything, I'm using it to eat a stun from the enemy, so they're not using it on somebody else. Or I'm using it so that they go on a core, and then I'm just standing behind the core and I use it. And what's really underrated about it, like people think of it as this big damage spell, but it's a 30% move speed slow in like a 835 radius circle around you. So like 2 Crystal Novas worth of radius, which ends up being like way more because, pi r squared or whatever. It's like huge area, and it's a 60 attack speed slow too. So even more anti-trading. You can cast it on like one side of the river and be slowing people on the other side of the river. So I think it's like a defensive spell for the most part until you get, if you have a BKB or something, and not have to worry about it getting interrupted.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like I've casted my other 2 spells, and now they've gone on me. Well, you might as well cast Freezing Field because it makes you tanky and it will slow everyone, and maybe it'll deal some damage before you die. Or, okay, they've gone on somebody else. I'm going to kind of deter the enemy from coming even further into us by using Freezing Field. Or I just want to distract them and be like, hey, Lion, stun me. Or Lion, hex me or something. Or Finger of Death me instead of a core.
Something interesting reading the notes on the Gamepedia wiki page. It says the first explosion
starts in the right corner. Is that what you're going to say?
Northeast segment and then proceeds counterclockwise. So the blasts go in a circle around you. So
really? I did not know that.
I thought it was just random in the AO.
So it starts between 0 and 3 and then goes counterclockwise.
But then, it goes in this circular motion, which is
counterclockwise, did they say?
Anti-clockwise, yeah.
Okay, so someone's immediately to your right, to the east of you,
Northeast,
and you use Freezing Field.
You'll hit them straight away.
Well, if it's northeast and it's going counterclockwise, it won't hit them right if they're east. It's got to go around the whole
they're east, sorry, yeah.
I'm just thinking that's a big difference.
0 and 90 degrees, so think of it like that. And then
so the first explosion is in the top right segment, then the top left segment, and the bottom left, bottom right.
But it's also, the snowballs are hitting really fast, like 0.1 seconds or something. So it circles quick.
Okay,
it's not a very niche thing.
It does feel like sometimes, though, a hero
randomly escape
and doesn't get any hits, and it's like, come on, what's going on?
Because it's also going a radius out. It goes really close to you or really far away. So sometimes they just get missed. I think it's about an average of 400 radius away from you is the hit threshold.
The average damage is roughly constant up to a radius of 485, falling off after that. So it's saying the closer the enemy is to CM, they take more hits.
Yeah.
That is interesting. That is worth knowing. I didn't know
It said
that.
If someone got hit by every freezing field hit, it's like 31,000 magic damage or something.
Yeah, level 3 with talent.
Yeah.
Gee. Let's talk about Crystal Maiden talents. For the support, I don't think we're going to have time to go over Battle Maiden. That's for another day, perhaps. Perhaps next episode we'll just do about Battle Maiden, as well as maybe Willow Mid or something funky. But talent-wise, from support perspective, what do you think? How do you see these talents, Adam?
Yeah, I have them all listed out. I have 90% of the time getting cast range, 10% of the time getting health. So it's 100 cast range or 250 health. And if you can really focus on your positioning, you get more effective health out of using the cast range. But there are some times where you just have to live. You just have to be able to get gone on and maybe survive that initial hex duration or survive a finger or a Laguna or something. And that's where the health comes in. And I think the health gets really good if you go like double bracer build as a support or something.
Yeah.
Get really tanky. So, but for the most part, I do think the cast range is better.
Hard to pass up a cast range on a support, honestly.
Yeah.
Feels like those talents are so good. And 100's not bad for level 10, right? Yeah. I feel like, isn't Shadow Shaman's level 15 125 at 15? So to get 100 at 10 is quite strong.
It's
I know
good.
It seems, that does seem good.
Also, the fact that cast range is applied to your items is so nice, just casually. Forces, glimmers, yeah. Because also with the level 15 is the 150 GPM. If you do take that, so CM plus her, she does have farm capability with creep. You can shove a wave with your Q. You could go to the woods and get a casual W. So she can get items. So the cast range talent goes well there as well.
Yeah. Adam, you put 1% of the time mana loss reduction, 14%. What is that 1%? Do you know? Is it games that you've already won?
If you have a Storm Spirit on your team and they ask nicely. Because most of the time, I'm not about to not get 150 GPM.
Yeah. That's like the ultimate ruin. That's like TI finals. I'll be like, fine. I just won't take the funnest thing about the hero, and so my Storm can do better spells. But they've got to ask really nicely, or there's got to be a lot on the line, or else I'm not doing it.
Yeah, because it's just free wards, free smokes, free.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You can get. The thing is, it's really hard to get level 15 as Crystal Maiden. Like, you have to stay alive in team fights to get the level 15 because neutrals or you have to push out creep waves solo, not jungle, because jungle does not give a lot of XP. So, yeah, you have to have a little bit of time on your own to get level 15 before 30 minutes. And so that's where you get your catch up. With the gold talent, and then you actually kind of have items and be a late game kind of bit of a force. So it would feel really bad to pass that up and get the mana cost. But if the other team has a bunch of diffusal blades or an anti-mage, or you have a storm and they have a Kaya, it can be pretty good. But I still think it's 99% gold per minute.
And then the 20 and 25, we've got 20 plus 60 freezing field damage versus 250 attack speed.
Yeah, and most of the time I'm getting attack speed because there's always something that needs to be hit. Whether it is a Phoenix Egg or a Tombstone or a Pugna Ward or just wards in general or refraction charges.
Just pushing creep, honestly. It's a big help. Because, when you use your Q, you're not one-shotting a creep wave, so you've got to pep them to clean them up. having that
Yeah,
attack
exactly.
speed really helps just the pace of your game.
Yeah, you push out waves a lot faster. That's right, because your Crystal Nova puts everything at one auto attack, but your attack speed is so slow that you have to really like focus on which ones the creeps are going to hit, so that you don't lose the CS. But with this, you just press Q and then like A click and you hit them all. Freezing Field is good if you're going like Blink, Ags, BKB, or if you're going Core Crystal Maiden and going the ult build, because you can go Core Crystal Maiden and go like right clicky, and that's where you get the attack speed. So I have it as a 60% of the time attack speed, 40% Freezing Field. I think with the Ags and the Freezing Field talent, every explosion does 310 magic damage, which is more than a Crystal Nova. Which
Seems
is
good.
a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Ags
It's
is
a lot
kind of crazy.
magic. Yeah, but you have to like actually be able to channel Freezing Field for it to do the damage.
And like we said, in the majority of games, you're not playing around this Freezing Field spell.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you're not going to be picking talents around it. And then 25, the Promised Land, if you can ever get there on Crystal Maiden, 300 Crystal Nova damage or 1.5 second Frostbite duration.
Yeah, that one's an 85-15 split towards the Crystal Nova damage. It's 560 damage AoE. You can push out Mega Creeps with that easy. I mean, it won't like one-shot them, but you can like push them out and not be worried. And also just if they have a Nago or a PL or something, you're going to clear out illusions really fast. It's a ton of damage against enemies and AoE. But if they have like a Ember Spirit or someone that's really can get around and has a low charge BKB, the Frostbite duration makes it a 4.5 second root, which is really strong. Or if you go ult build, because it applies. So Ags on Crystal Maiden, if they're in your Freezing Field aura for 2.5 seconds, they get automatically frostbit. And so that applies the bigger Frostbite to them.
Yeah.
Like a 4.5. Like I did that, or actually I didn't get that game. But there was a game against a Meepo. Like I was killing the Meepo already, but like if you had a 4.5 second Frostbite on a Meepo, along with the Crystal or with the Freezing Field, like there's no way they can survive it. So just kind of depends. I think the Crystal Nova is like all you have to do is cast that once in a lobby or something. You're like, oh my, this is fun. Like.
It's the similar conversation to level 1 as is level 25. It's like, yeah, you've got 300 extra damage on a big AoE versus like this Frostbite spell, which is great. Maybe you only want to prioritize this spell in general, whether it's level 1 to 6 or level 25, if, like you say, you're against like an Ember or something. But in general, this Crystal Nova is just going to be so strong.
Yeah.
So I guess we're pretty much done. Do we want to... Let's go through some of these Maiden tricks to like round off our guide.
These cool Crystal Maiden tricks.
Cool Crystal Maiden tricks. Go on, someone tell me a cool Crystal Maiden trick, because I don't feel like I can contribute to the
things
Crystal
I've learned in
Maiden
190
tricks.
matches that you get for free.
Yeah. Wow, the listeners can't believe their luck.
Yeah.
This is like the back end of the pod, the real talk. We've talked about the boring stuff like the spells. This is like the cool stuff.
Well, if they made it through an hour and 20,
they deserve it.
Yeah, they deserve it.
Yeah.
So, I think this is the big one. It's really cool that the Crystal Nova we've talked about as an AoE. It's really big, and if you think about it, think about it as like you as the middle of the circle. Like you can cast Crystal Nova on top of yourself, and it will still hit someone behind you, because that's just the way the circle works. So if you're getting chased by somebody, especially at level 1, and they're like getting close to you in melee range, you can cast a Crystal Nova like just in front of your hero, and then it will hit them. They'll be slowed, and you won't have to turn around, cast, and you won't have to like, because you have a pretty bad turn rate. So you don't have to be punished by your turn rate and move speed, and you can keep running in the same direction, and that's how you can put distance between yourself and the enemy. So you won't be slowed down.
I'll throw out a little token comparison to Jakiro. Same deal. If you're being chased, just use Ice Path in front of you, even if the person chasing you is not right behind you. Like, the time it takes you to turn and then Ice Path them, it's just not worth it. Ice Path in front of yourself and then just keep running. Like, they're likely going to walk into it anyway. Or they have to move around it and play around it, and then you're already winning anyway because you're just running away in the most optimal direction. So yeah, similar idea, like you were saying, just avoid those turn rates. We're not Hon. We're not League of Legends people.
Do they not have turn rates in League?
No turn rates in League.
Immediately turn around.
Okay, like, talking about the physics of Dota and MOBAs, right? Come on, no turn rates. So you can be a human walking forward and then just instantly walk backwards.
Yeah, that's why when they play Dota, they're like, this game feels so slow. It's because you actually have to wait for the hero to turn around. You can't just, like, do all these nifty...
That just doesn't make sense in the universe.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference, like a massive difference.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's like when...
a subtle way of balancing, too. Like, a really subtle, cool way of balancing heroes with turn rates.
Yes. So IO doesn't have a turn rate, but he's the only one.
Yeah.
I've seen interviews with like Zai and PPD and some of these other guys that came over from Hon and Kyle. Old interviews from back when they made the initial switch, and they're like, what's the biggest difference between the two games? And they're all like, oh, this turn rate thing is like so weird to me. Like, I'm not used to it, and it makes a huge difference to just subtly how you move the hero in lane. When there's no turn rate, there's no punishment to just spam back and forth and weird little, micro things like that. It's just like, you can't do that in Dota, or your hero's just going to sit where he is, just turning the way he's facing.
Yeah.
So
you're actually not going to move anywhere.
Yeah.
Another cool Crystal Maiden trick is Frostbite. It's kind of like Witch Doctor's Paralyzing Cask, where it lasts a lot longer on a creep. And another thing with Frostbite is that it disarms the target for the duration. So it lasts 10 seconds, which is how people usually jungle with the hero. But if the enemy is sieging and there's siege units, you can disarm them for 10 seconds by just frostbiting them. And so you can kind of like disarm both siege creeps in a wave late game, as long as you don't like die as you like waddle up.
There'll have been a lot of times when a CM player at whatever level gets jumped on mid-late game by some enemy right-click a core and not realize or panic and not cast Frostbite because they're just like, crap, I'm going to die, I can't do anything. When actually, if they frost bit the enemy,
they'd be fine.
And they'll be fine and they live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also with the Frostbite, just for like jungle creeps, doesn't matter the level of the spell, it's going to do a flat 1,000 damage to the creep. And a lot of these creeps now have companions that provide magic resistance, such as the potato creep or the little centaurs. So you gotta hit the creep a couple times, the big creep, for it to die.
So it doesn't matter what level Frostbite is, it's going to do the same amount of damage to creeps.
Yeah, flat 1,000.
Because it's a flat DPS, it's just that the duration of the spell goes up against enemy heroes, but for creeps it's 10 at all levels.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so I learned this. I already knew that it did this, but I learned it especially this week trying to do the 45 Frostbite challenge, because I wouldn't want to like CS it with a right click. And then all these creeps would always live with like one tick of health, and you didn't want to commit all that mana just to, get the last hit. So I would lose out on one CS for the challenge. So you just gotta you gotta hit the. I know a lot of the time I'll use Frostbite on a creep and then run away. Like it'll die later, but I want to get to somewhere else on the map. But you got to make sure you hit it a couple times, or else the creep won't die. So,
yeah, and then a big one is vision with Crystal Nova specifically. Like you've written here, Adam, Crystal Nova provides 900 AoE vision, and you'll see people particularly use it to get those high warding spots, and it means you can, even when you're by yourself, you can do those sneaky sentries that are like in between two high ground spots, and then. So potentially catching two warding locations, and then you can use Crystal Nova to check if there's wards up there, rather than
not
relying
have to
on
use
a hero.
your obs.
Yeah, exactly. Not having to use an obs and not having to get a hero to like power shot or something.
Yeah, they'll see that you dewarded and they'll think you warded up there, right? But you didn't. So then they waste the ward when you just used a Crystal Nova. So it's pretty good.
On the wards, that reminded me that the cast range talent I really, really like on supports because of wards. You can now plant 100 range more. So in fights or up ramps or in more obscure locations, you can plant a ward because of the talent. I think that's actually, so when I talk about items, that's wards are one of the biggest observer wards, the biggest item that benefits from that actually.
Oh, it's so huge for going up high grounds because when you don't have any cast range buffs, you've got to get so close to the high ground to put a ward up, and often it's behind trees and stuff because you can only just clip it over. When you have high cast range, it's like a dream. Yeah,
you can be in the river and then put it into the camp of over the cliff rather than... Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be able to reach anything, but yeah, honestly, that makes a massive difference.
Yep. And then Frostbite provides True Sight as well, so...
That's tasty.
If you lock down a Ricky, everyone will get to see him.
Fuck Ricky.
For a little bit and hit him. A recent change to Frostbite is that it used to be like a mini stun, right? And then it would root, so it would cancel all channels. Now it only cancels TPs. So that is good that you can still cancel TP, but you're not going to be able to stop a black hole with Frostbite.
Or Pugnus. That's the worst, when you think you're going to interrupt his life drain and then your spell doesn't. It's like, fuck's sake.
Although you can, I think you can like reset cast times or cast animations. So like Poof, I'm pretty sure you reset Poof if you Frostbite during the.
I think that's correct. Yeah. So would you, if say a Centaur Wall Runner pressed Hoof Stomp, and you press Frostbite, you Frostbited them during animation, it would cancel that, and they'd have to press it again.
It would. Yeah, but they could cast it. Yeah,
they could cast it while Frostbitten. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's the same as very similar to Meepo Earthbind, in that it's all routes are basically the same. They had that big change to routes where it used to not cancel TPs, both Earthbind and Frostbite, I believe. Am I right in thinking that? Oh, you said it used to be a mini stun, so I guess it would have.
Yeah, they took off the mini stun and just made it.
Okay, yeah. Marco, you've written in alt at the bottom of this cool Crystal Maiden tips. I think the last tip we'll go over. What are you thinking?
The rain of showery ice into invisibility cloak. So when you cast your ult, so I don't know what this applies for, but it's like if you TP, you can Shadow Blade. I just tested it. I don't know if you can TP and Glimmer.
You can.
You can TP and Glimmer. You can TP and press Phase Boots.
Okay,
you can also TP and press BKB as well, I think.
That doesn't cancel.
I don't think so.
Oh, you can't. Oh, can you not do BKB?
No.
Okay, you can't do BKB, people. Sorry.
But
you can BKB then TP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So similar to TP's Freezing Field, if you're in some lucrative late game and you pick up your Shadow Blade, or even if you're just a trusty support with your Glimmer Cape, ult, and then you can still cast your hidden Glimmer on you. And I always forget when I'm channeling what I can or can't use.
Yeah. It's like a big order thing, especially... So I was playing... I guess we're going to push to the next pod, but like mid Crystal Maiden, and I was going alt build, right? So I had all the stuff. I had Blink, I had Shadow Blade, I had Ags, I had BKB, I had Ghost Scepter. Like, all these things are in a certain order. I should say always BKB and then Blink in, because you don't want to get stunned, and it's just better. I mean, you lose like half a second of BKB duration, but that guarantees that you get everything off. You don't blink into a stun or something.
The classic
so you BKB, then
just
TP.
On Blink BKB is, if you don't BKB preemptively, you can often have your Blink interrupted, and then it's 3 seconds where you're not in the fight and not winning the fight. But if you don't mean some random spray of spells or damage, so that's another reason to BKB and then blink in. But yeah, go on.
And then you can't, if you Ghost Scepter and then BKB, you purge off Ethereal Form. But if you BKB and then Ghost Scepter, you can't get hit by physical or by magic.
Say that again. If you what way around was that?
If you press Ghost Scepter and then BKB, you purge off Ethereal Form.
Ah, okay. But you can Ghost while BKB'd.
Yes, you can Ghost while BKB'd, And then also,
Interesting. Can you e-blade
like-
yourself while BKB? Probably, right?
uh,
It's the
I
same
would-
thing, isn't it?
yeah, I think so.
But
You
you
might
won't-
make your target magic immune. I don't know. I think you can, but then also you ult and then Shadow Blade. Yeah, I think that covers everything. I think you had already said ulting and Shadow Blading, but yeah, it's a
Yeah.
you want to make sure you get the order right because it feels bad.
Hmm.
There have been times where I forgot to press BKB and I'm chilling the ult and then it gets canceled, or I just press BKB and then I cancel the ult. It's a lot to queue up. It's always good to blink the BKB and then blink.
Hmm.
That's the one that is the most important.
Yeah. You see that go wrong, from time to time. Someone not preemptively BKBing and then getting like a mini stun like the second they blink in. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that feels bad. When no black hole this fight, I guess. But yeah, that brings us to the end of our notes and the end of the episode. Battle Maiden coming to a pod near you soon. We'll definitely be revisiting that one. But yeah, that's the Come Dine With Me approved new meta guide to Crystal Maiden. Maybe each of us will get like our own, Adam was saying, each of us gets our own hero deep dive. So I think a lot of listeners will enjoy this Crystal Maiden one, and then probably one listener will enjoy my Meepo one, given the difference in the two pick rates. I don't know, maybe Marco, you'll choose some middling hero to do a deep dive investigation in, or maybe you'll refuse out of principle as the versatile person you proclaim.
Yeah, who would I do that?
Did you see what I suggested in the WhatsApp for you, Marco?
Yeah, the last hit trainer guide.
Yeah, that's your hero, last hit trainer.
Yeah.
No, that it would be like what's that guy with the big afro that does the painting YouTube videos?
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. I'd just do the equivalent with last hit trainer. Just like, so now we're gonna wait for this creep to hit, and then we hit. I'm gonna aggro
Happy
here.
little CS.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. It would be like he'd say a happy accident when someone misses a creep, but then like if they miss another creep, it's like, really testing my PMA here. Not sure if I can keep this Bob Ross act up enough. I feel like it's going to be a very unhappy accident if you miss another creep here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll fit in these deep dives.
I kind of love, but no, it's non-PMA, just spamming pings when someone in my lane misses a creep. I can't help it. I know it doesn't help the situation.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
I mean, I say it every week, but I'm just waiting for this patch review app. This like 4-hour patch review app. No, I mean, we've got Purge for the over long ones. We'll do ours. Will be we've done plenty of patch reviews in the past, but I'm so looking forward to
both heroes coming out at the same time.
Yes, they will be. Yeah.
God, that patch.
That's a big pod.
Because there's going to be big gameplay stuff as well.
I think it's going to be. I don't know. We'll probably have to do. Maybe we do like some pods on back-to-back days or something, like some emergency double pod or something.
Yeah, like
might have to be,
because to talk about a new hero when we did Mars, that was a big pod.
Yeah, we'll do something. I feel like maybe we just. If everyone's available when the patch drops, we'll just pod like that evening if we can. Because everyone's going to be spending an hour or plus reading the notes anyway. Yeah. So may as well just do it in a Discord or something. So,
sorry for dragging the pod on. I've still not got all my comments out.
Go on.
One other comment. We got a Flame CM because her Frostbite icon is the same as Overgrowth.
Oh, yeah.
That's not on. Ice Rock, sort that out.
So weird, yeah.
Then, what was the other one? Oh, she's got a taunt that everyone spams, and it's really annoying.
She makes the...
Yeah. God.
Let it go, man.
Yeah.
I was just looking through the cosmetics in the client, and that taunt sound kept going off. I was losing my mind.
I still haven't got a couple... I've got a couple comments as well to throw in.
Yeah.
First comment is our percentages gone? Because I don't have a percentage anymore.
I didn't have one when I looked.
Oh, so someone in the Discord has posted a picture with a percentage, so...
Why haven't I got one? Anyway.
Because you're
Because I'm bad. The other one is, I never really got to the true reason why I changed my profile to Mark Noble and Pugner.
Oof,
and the true reason is I couldn't deal with the like PMA pressure of having the pods never attached to my profile.
I've tarnished our rep a couple times, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't nothing like serious, but that was like part of it. I was like, don't know. I kind of want like a week where I can just be Mark Noble and Pug, just, like, throwing pings around and stuff. But yeah, I've got to throw that in right at the end of the pod when most of the listeners are valuable listeners. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear this. Yeah, join us again soon. Bye, I guess. Have fun playing CM.
See ya.
See ya.